I went under a past life / higher self hypnosis with a professional, and it was one of the wildest things that I've ever done. And I'm going to be explaining to you guys everything from step by step, what I saw, what happened, what my experience was, and if it changed my life, or am I still a skeptic? This hypnosis session took about the whole day, about 7 to 8 hours, you guys. And before you call this a BS, critique, judge, I want you to watch the whole entire video and just listen. Just be open to what I have to say, regardless of what you think right now. And then if you still want to judge, do it at the end of the video. So what the heck is past life and higher self hypnosis? So this is when a professional walks you down through a deep relaxation and meditation, and you're able to walk through 1 or 2 of your past lives. And this is able to be tapped into if you're open and allow yourself to experience this, because they say your soul is like a giant diamond, and many fragments and parts of it break off and come back, experience life, lessons, dimensions. You experience different genders, different roles. You can be a plant, an animal, a rock. I know, it's wild. Keep listening. And any lessons that you didn't learn or carried on from a past life, such as regret, resentment, things you didn't get to do, it can be carried on to now, this life, and that's one of the reasons why you might be here. Now, higher self is basically you, but it's the higher, most intelligent, energetic, angelic side of yourself that is part of your soul, but it's almost like a middleman between your physical self and your soul. And I learned so much about my life, such as why was I so gloomy growing up, have trouble making friends, or obsession with my music career. Why am I pursuing this career right now? How about my romantic relationship? Like, why am I having such trouble? Should I leave that relationship or not? All of these were answered in this 8-hour session that I had. So I decided to work with a professional, Tracy Ventura. She's a Reiki master, a spiritual teacher, certified Theta healing instructor, and of course a professional past life and higher self hypnotist. So the first step is to do something called an intake. This is basically your life interview. And basically for about 2-3 hours, you're going all the way back to your childhood up till now.
Let's go all the way back to you when you were born.
I grew up in South Korea. I was born there. And then I immigrated when I was 8 years old to America.
For example, I talked about moving to America, which was a big change in my life. Painful memories from, school taunting and teasing, family relationships, so anything pretty much significant in your life that happened.
I was made fun of a lot racially, and a lot of bullying and picking, and not having a lot of friends growing up. I didn't like being Asian, being Korean. I just wanted to erase Asian in me when I was younger.
I told her about this reoccurring dream that I have still till this day.
Till this day, time to time, I have dreams about high school, and it's always like I'm trapped in high school and I never graduated. I had that reoccurring dream.
Let's find out what that's about. See if we can resolve that. Because, I'm sure you've heard that dreams are a way we try to work things out. Right? We try to process things through our dreams.
So I wanted to ask my higher self, why am I having this reoccurring dream? Then I went on to my adulthood. For me personally, I talked about my music career, becoming a K-pop singer, and this obsession with music and fame that I had. And ever since as a kid, I wanted to pursue that so bad. I just didn't care about anything or anyone else. I wanted this career, period. And a lot of you guys might not know, but I went through a really rough lawsuit with my previous entertainment agency in Korea, which lasted about 3 years. It was draining me.
Long story short, I even went on to have a lawsuit with them for 3 years after that. So it was a difficult time for me. Something happened with me and my agency. We were in a lot of disagreements. Police got involved.
And one of the questions she wanted to ask my higher self, and I got really teary-eyed, was, is this music career still something that I should pursue or not?
But I still have questions, resentment myself on not being able to reach my peak of singing career, because that's something that I invested and dreamt about since I was young. I don't know if I should give up on the dream. Is there something still there for me?
So I wrote, she has questions and resentment that she did not reach the peak of her singing career and feels she has not achieved that and was meant to be a singer. Should she give up on the dream? Is there something still there for her? She gets emotional when she talks about it because it's a dream she still wants so badly to achieve. Ask your higher self that.
Yes.
My issues with confidence, why I can't speak up compared to other people. Why am I so afraid of not being accepted? Now, those were my pinpoints. Everybody's different. So just like that, you go through some of the issues and beliefs that you have that might not be so benefiting you right now. And how can we resolve them?
I think I'm afraid of not being accepted guess, like by friends, by strangers. If I say something and they don't respond to my joke or whatever, I get very offended.
So we're looking at all these other people, and there's all these other broken people, right? They have a broken heart, they have broken confidence, that like there's all these things, and everyone's got their own little pile of stuff that they deal with, right? Everyone's got theirs, yet we're looking to all these other people with their own pile of stuff going, why don't you accept me? Right? We want acceptance. We want acceptance from all these other people who their lives change every moment, and they're fickle about this one day and fickle about that the next day, and they like this and they don't like that, and they hate themselves and they don't feel worthy, and yet we're looking to all these other people who don't feel worthy, who don't love themselves, who don't accept themselves, to accept us.
And she does something called Theta healing in this session as well, when you're able to change your beliefs, your deep subconscious beliefs, and download them, replace those beliefs with something more positive. And I'll get more into that in a bit. And of course, I want to share some private, personal questions that I had about my own life. So I had all of these questions to ask my higher self. So the first part is the past life hypnosis, and she does this first, and then we go to talk to your higher self. After the interview and a lunch break, you come back and you go into a quiet room inside of your house. Now you do not want any disturbances such as pets, family members, roommates. I laid down in a comfortable place. It was actually in my closet, because this part, the actual hypnosis part, will take about 4 hours. And she takes you down into a deep relaxation and a meditative state, and try to quiet your left brain, because that's where your ego is. That's what your intellectual brain is, and it's the side of the brain that says none of this is real. It could be very critical because it's trying to make you survive, and only use your right brain, which is your imagination side. You let the imaginations open to any and all possibilities that you can imagine without the ego and the critique sides.
What do you see either when you look around you, or if you prefer, you can look down where your feet would be and tell me, what is the ground like? What do you see the ground looking like underneath?
Like a very old century road, kind of like if you go to an old European neighborhood, it's like, or like stones as sidewalks.
And I always somehow said, ever since I was young, like I was so connected to the Victorian era. Victorian era clothes, buildings, art. And I've had deja vu ever since I was like a baby, a kid, to these kind of like European old buildings. And I grew up in South Korea as a kid, you guys. Like I'm Asian, so I never saw European buildings. And as I was looking down at my feet, I just knew, I had a feeling I was a man. And I didn't want to say it because I'm like, I'm a girl right now. Like, how do I know what it feels like to be a man?
I'm a guy. I'm in like
shoes on, or your bare feet?
Shoes on. It's like a very old suit. Like, I don't know if it's 1800s, somewhere around old century.
And do you feel like you're carrying anything in your hands or on your body anywhere?
Like an old watch where you, like the circle watch where you flip it up and it's like they used to tie it around their pants.
Oh, the pocket watch?
Oh, yes.
You feel healthy or unhealthy? Young, old, kind of in the middle?
Pretty young, I think.
I saw like people riding horse carriages, stone grounds, and like sidewalks, and I just remember the sky and the surroundings. Now, most of you guys are pretty curious, how does this feel like, and am I actually seeing this? To me personally, it really felt like if you were seeing things in your mind like in a dream, but it was like with intense emotions. Like it's so hard to explain. But you know, when you're just fantasizing, daydreaming, it just kind of poofs, goes away. But this hypnosis in the past life session was almost like a vivid dream with emotions and feelings heavily attached to you. Your left side and your ego side and logical side will try to seep in and be like, Grace, what are you doing? Like, this isn't real. But again, you have to really quiet that down, and you just have to be open to anything and all that is possible to get this started. And you get that like ball rolling, I instantly knew that this was my past life.
What adjectives would you use to describe your life? For example, would you say it difficult, easy, hard, stressful?
Maybe ambitious, trying to find, like I kind of want to, like I'm very young and I want to do something, like ambitious.
And the next thing, she asked you to go to the place that you're living in, and I saw this townhouse and I walked into the door, and it was the exact same image in this particular house that I had in my head since, again, I was a kid. And I remember vividly this black and white tiles, there's like stairs in the middle, there's some rooms on the top. Like, I remember when I was a child, I went to my aunt's house. I went to my aunt and I said, hey aunt, doesn't your house have like black and white tiles, and I was describing this to her. I was always drawing that house when I was a kid, and she's like, what are you talking about? And it was that same house that I was seeing in this past life hypnosis. Going back to the past life, it didn't seem like I was living there with family. It seemed like I was borrowing the room, and I had this strong, crazy feelings and emotions that I only looked forward to: career, money, building things, and just this like intense emotions of ambitions that I'm gonna make it in this life.
I want you to take me forward to either an important or a memorable day. Something big might be happening, might be something minor, but it just kind of stands out in your memory.
I feel like I'm in a big European mansion or castle, like it's like a red Victorian house. Maybe there's like a one female with a very beautiful, again, Victorian like dress.
Okay.
Like together, but not like married or anything like that.
It was a red room with like beautiful Victorian age bed, and I saw this like ornaments inside, and there was this beautiful woman. I remember she was wearing this big puffy dress with like something on her head. She was Caucasian, and I told Tracy that I think this is my girlfriend. Fast forward, the next scene is when I started to cry a lot and just feel this intense emotions. Again, you guys, like, I don't cry much, but I was crying in this session. I was not expecting that.
Take me forward to another important or just a memorable day.
I'm imagining her and me, and I have like a big gentleman's hat, and I'm just walking around town with maybe like 2 kids.
You ended up getting married.
Yes, but I feel like I'm not enough for her, maybe. I'm like constantly discovering myself, so maybe I don't have enough time for them.
Any idea how she feels about your relationship?
Maybe a little selfish in my emotions and like myself, a little selfish.
So not totally present there with them?
Yeah. I feel like I'm trying to like give them, that's why I'm walking around town, like one day giving them like a cool day out with the dad, or like trying to give them a good life, but like it's more almost like a mask. I'm just like giving them one Sunday and then leaving. My wife, she's in like a beautiful dress. The kids are like tidy up and like very cute, but maybe I haven't seen the ugly side of like changing their diapers or like crying. I'm only seeing their like beautiful sides. And that's maybe again selfish.
So basically what I'm trying to say here is that I was the dad. We ended up having kids, and I was just like a really busy working dad, I feel. So ambitious, and I was never like fully present with them emotionally nor spiritually. All right, kids, I'm here, I'm busy, I'm playing with you guys for a couple hours, and I gotta go to work tomorrow. And I know you guys are explaining like, how would you know all of that by just like the hypnosis? I'm telling you guys, this hypnosis session was wild because it came with emotions and understanding and feelings. Like, I've never felt these like emotions before, and it was just like overwhelming that I started to cry in the session. I don't think you could tell because I was still speaking. So regretful that I never really got to know this beautiful woman that was my wife and my kids, nor did I really care about anybody else. That's when I realized, oh my God, I carried that on to this life as Grace. Because that's kind of how I felt growing up in this life. Like, ever since I was a kid, I had this obsession. Hey, I'm gonna be a singer. This is what I'm gonna do. I don't care about anybody else, anybody's feelings. I'm gonna do me.
And we're gonna jump in just moments before you take your last breath. Tell me what's happening. Are you sick? Are you injured? Are you really old? Like, what's going on, and where are you?
Again, church, like old church aesthetic like room. I feel like this is like a big government important building, and like I have my own room there. I don't know if it's my kids or my grandkids, but I feel like there's one lady and 2 little kids, maybe 1 guy.
Okay, this scene when she takes you to the last breath you're taking, I had a huge feeling that I was successful materialistically, but in my deathbed, I feel like I saw my wife and my kids and this one man who seemed to be like my assistant. I wasn't too old, but I felt injured. Like I was holding onto my left rib, I felt like, and it was kind of bleeding.
And what do you think lying there? What do you think about just kind of, if you do like just a brief life review in your mind?
I feel like I've worked and chased my ambitions, but the connections from people aren't there. Like I've left the people out, and there's not that many people but my close family there for me. I feel like I didn't give love to people, like connection wise. Like I could have been there for more people and family. It was always my own ambition and work that I feel like I was chasing.
At the deathbed, I had this strong emotions and feeling of how regretful and how sad that was. I was like, damn, I made it materialistically, but nobody's here in my deathbed. I felt like kind of disliked by a lot of people. And I felt like this beautiful wife, she was so loyal, yet she stayed by as a loyal woman to this probably selfish man that never gave her true love. And she actually asked me, do you think your wife is somebody in this life? Now, to a lot of people, they actually say yes, but for me personally, I did not feel like she was anybody in this life. And I was like, maybe she hated me so much in my past life, she didn't want to reincarnate with me. Okay, next is the higher self hypnosis. To me personally, what this felt like was, it felt like me. It literally felt like I was just tapping into the most intelligent, the most abundant, the most highest creative version of myself. So it didn't feel like I was possessed or talking to a complete stranger or a strange soul. It was me. If I was the smartest, most intelligent person ever, what kind of answers would I give myself?
So is this life meant to kind of be like a redo to see if she does it differently?
Being a female, you get to have more emotions and you feel things. And I feel like she needs to feel things. And being a female allows you to be more colorful and more emotional. And she doesn't like being emotional.
It's so funny. Like I said, I came back to this life as a female because I want to feel emotions, because I was so kind of emotionless and kind of very man. And this is the part where I ask my higher self, what am I here to do? What is my purpose in this life? What can I do to resolve these issues?
Does her soul want her to do in terms of how she lives this life compared to that one?
Instead of working for materials like buildings and work for other people, and you can still have fame and big buildings, houses, whatever you want, but put people in your mind and other souls and empathy. Being ambitious with other people and including others and not just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she also does theta healing in these sessions and also psychic surgery if you choose to. Basically, we all have trapped emotions in our chakras, in our organs, and different parts of our bodies energetically. It could be emotions of anger, resentment, shame, jealousy, whatever it might be. And many times, if you do not resolve these emotions, it can manifest into your physical body that causes harm, such as, actual physical sickness or illnesses. So theta healing helps you to remove and change those beliefs and replace them with something more positive that will benefit you.
Can you detect if she's holding on to any trapped anger or resentment anywhere in her body? And if yes, where would she be holding that?
In the root chakra, uterus, stomach.
Where did this anger and resentment start? Is it something that she just started kind of developing and growing in this lifetime? Is it something she's carried over from maybe another life? Is it passed down to her generationally? Where did this anger kind of take root?
I feel like it's this life thing. I think always being, since a little girl, always being controlled by other people or situations. Maybe that's why she feels like she wants to be a little runaway teenage boy, feeling the freedom of on her own.
Is it possible for you to download the program into her of, I know what it feels like, I know that it's possible, and I know how to be grounded and fit into the human world without the need to hold on to anger and resentment?
Then I went into removing unforgiveness from my past life and replacing it with worthiness, unconditional love.
Would it benefit her to have you download Creator's definition and perspective of worthiness into her, and have her definition match Creator's definition of worthiness? And if that would benefit her, can you do that now?
As you're doing this, you're supposed to be visualizing everything that's happening, because as quantum physics says, there needs to be an observer in order for things to manifest and change. Then, of course, we went into the personal questions that I asked my higher self, such as about my lawsuit, about my music career. Should I still be pursuing this or not? And especially with the lawsuit and why I went through this, why I had to leave the company, my highest, most intelligent self said if I stayed and only did music, I would not be able to pursue my soul path and purpose, because I was meant to do many different things and reach many people as I can.
Is she meant to continue to pursue her singing career? And if so, what are some concrete steps she can take to lead her to that. But you're saying that that might not necessarily be the number one thing her soul wants for her?
Being a singer would have limited her. No spirituality. You can't do anything but singing. She would have had to give her life to that.
And one of my answers regarding a person that I was having trouble with, I wanted to know, what am I supposed to learn in this situation, in this relationship? And my higher self said, with this particular person, I am here to learn unconditional love, loving this person in all different spectrums. Like, I'm here to learn all the spectrums of somebody and not judge them for one characteristic. So, which was a cool answer. So your higher self is able to give you all these best, most positive, loving solutions and answers that you can ever give yourself. And these are all things that literally I would not have thought of. Like, I'm telling you guys, it's like, oh my God, that was why I went through that. Like, oh my God, that is why I felt so ambitious in this life, and how that could have led to me repeating the patterns. And now I finally understand what I was meant to do in this life.
Okay. I just got back. Welcome back to planet Earth.
Wow.
After you wake up from the hypnosis, yes, I remember this whole thing. You are awake.
I could tell in the beginning when I first brought your higher self in, you struggled a little bit, but then it was like you got into it and you were just like, blah, 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 like
Oh,
with all the
really?
answers. Yeah. It sounds like you were on track to repeat the past life.
You need that slap in the face or humbling yourself to look, okay, look, like, you came in this life, you can't be acting this way, because that's what you were supposed to learn from your past life. And it really helps you to go back to like level 0. I kind of was tearing up and crying because I felt so bad for that woman. I just felt so bad.
The wife that he neglected, right?
Yes, like neglected, so selfish. So I felt like I built this like a lot of money and fortune, yet nobody was here because I didn't build that connection.
And my higher self actually said in this session that if I want to feel fulfillment in this life, I need to educate and I need to just learn as much as possible. Like, learning is gonna give me fulfillment. And so I legit just signed up and paid for the Theta healing classes so that I can be a certified Theta healer, which is something that I've never expected for me to do. So I now know how to do Theta healing on other people, and my higher self, my team, told me to do it. And I did it, and I don't regret it because it changed my life. Like, my perspective of life after doing this hypnosis and Theta healing classes, and to understand and know that emotions and feelings, that's pretty much all that is to life. Feeling that you get from every single experiences in your life. That's why emotions are so important, and that's what had taught me throughout this whole experience. In conclusion, it blew my mind. It changed my life. I highly recommend that if you guys really want to try this, just do it. It's worth every penny. Anyway, thank you so much to Tracy Ventura. She is amazing. If you guys do want to try this, I'll leave her links down below, and let me know how your session went. And let me know your comments and thoughts on my experiences now that hopefully you've reached the end of the video. See you guys next time.
Anytime you're not feeling happiness and bliss, it's like if you take a temperature, it goes, oh, you're sick, with a thermometer, right? You take it's like, oh, you're sick. It's just a thermometer telling you you're out of alignment. It's literally just a gauge. So like, oh, okay, so I'm supposed to be happy, supposed to be in bliss. What is causing me not to be? Change that. Because we gotta think about it first and realize what's going on and go, oh, it's this area in my life over here. Okay, I need to make a shift over here. Oh, that made me happy. Oh, now I'm back in happiness and bliss.